everybody. Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room, episode 277. It's Mistress Carrie. I am your host. Welcome to the War Room. Last week, we were streaming live from my recording studio, MCHQ. Hold on, I gotta fix the hair. Went and saw Linda today. She always curls my hair, and then the curls get all weird. So last week, we were live in MCHQ, my podcast and radio studio. So if you are new to Cocktails in the War Room, this is the actual War Room. The room in my house where all of my family's military history is, where all of the things that I brought back from my trips overseas are, and where the bar is, which is exactly why we started hanging out here on March 14th of 2020. We did 80 nights in a row during the height of the pandemic. And then in June of 2020, we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show where we get together every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern. And it's basically to talk about music. We talk about the world. We talk about tours, whatever is going on. And it's an Ask Me Anything kind of thing. Open concept. We're streaming live right now on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and on my YouTube channel. You can get the links to all of those if you go to mistresscarrie.com, which is right there. I want to thank my friends at Latini Creative Solutions for always helping to make the show look so good with all of their amazing artwork and graphics. And if you are new to the War Room, there is someone I want to introduce you to over here Wednesday. My co-host on nearly every episode of Cocktails in the War Room is the one and only Wednesday the Goth Pug, which is where you can find her on Instagram. So if you're watching the show on IG right now, make sure you follow Wednesday at Wednesday the Goth Pug. And well, the only way we can get her in here with all of her plush cocktails herself is if I bribe her with cookies to do tricks. Can I have your paw? Thank you. Can you sit? Can I have a high five? Thank you. Sit down. Nicely. Good girl. Say hi to everyone, Wednesday. There's people that don't know how cute you are, so we want to make sure they know how cute you are, right? Wednesday had a bath over the weekend. She is so soft right now. You can see the pictures of her bath up on her Instagram. So I want to say what's up to, Michelle Alexander's watching on Facebook. Dina Smith watching on YouTube. Bish is joining us. Elsa, Jonathan, Christine on Facebook. If you are watching on Instagram, for some reason, it only shows me your handle. It does not show me your actual name. So if you're commenting on Instagram, make sure you put your name in the comment so I know what to call you. Otherwise, I'm calling you like Studley Wonderballs 213 or whatever it is that your handle is. Donna and Jessica, Tracy, Carol is here watching on Facebook. So we want to say what's up to everybody that's on Twitch and Twitter. If you're commenting on Twitter, I don't believe I can see your comments at all, but feel free to comment. We can always check it later. So lots to talk about this week. A huge announcement. Wednesday, are you going to come back over here? This is where all of your drinks are set up. This is where your camera is. You got to hit your mark. Down. Good girl. Good girl. Let's see. It was my birthday yesterday, says Carol. My husband gave me a card with the wrong age. He said he married a younger woman. He was almost in the doghouse, Carol, but that's a good save. What's up, Brendan, watching on Facebook? Let's see, Kevin watching on Facebook as well. Carrie on remote watching the Braves at Fenway on the Sox game. Nice job, Bish. Way to multitask. Lou is joining us as well. Annie Ange is here. She says, I feel like I'm in the romper room. And they never called my name, Annie Ange, which was total bullshit, by the way. Cheers to everybody. If you're new to the War Room, copper mug means Moscow Mule. So cheers to you guys. Donna here in the War Room says, hi to Mr. C. For all of the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders, we had our live stream the other night, which we do every month, which is something you can get with a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, and we could talk about that a little bit later. Mr. C is back in the States, and he is safe. So for anybody that doesn't know, he's active duty military. He was overseas for like the last week. He is back. I can breathe a sigh of relief. So it's fantastic. What's up, Mr. Cole? Joining us on Facebook as well. Jessica, we'll get to Keith and his unbirthday coming up. Don't float his ego this early on. Okay. There is a lot to talk about. You may or may not have noticed on all of my social media platforms this week that a major announcement was made Wednesday. That's the cookie pocket. If you want the cookies, you have to come to this side. You can't just scratch at the cookie pocket and think you're going to get cookies. You have to sit in the camera and do cute things. Can I have your paw? Can I have the other one? No, I want this one. Thank you. There you go. So there was a little bit of panic on my social media pages this week because I made an announcement and some people were like, wait, are you leaving? Are you moving? What is going on? So I wanted to officially welcome anybody that is new to the War Room that is watching in the greater Charleston, South Carolina area, because yesterday I started on a new station, 98 Rock, Charleston's best rock. You can hear me every weekday afternoon from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. You can go to my98rock.com. You can also download the 98 Rock app, which you can do right off the website. You can stream the show from anywhere. Check out the Mistress Carrie page. Check out what's going on. Cotter, who does afternoons, his first day was yesterday as well. And so to anybody that is confused, I can do multiple stations, and that's what I'm doing. So I am not leaving the Pike. I am not leaving the Bone. I'm not leaving the Westwood One Radio Network. Everything is staying the same, except I have added a new show, middays at 98 Rock in Charleston, South Carolina. That started yesterday. Day 2 went off without a hitch. No technical difficulties as of yet. And the feedback's been great. I'm actually shocked at how many people grew up listening to me on WAF in the greater Boston area that have relocated somewhere in and around the Charleston area. And when they got word that I was going to be on the radio there, they were like, oh my God, I got a little bit of home, which is amazing. Alicia says, your hair looks fantastic. Thank you very much. I will tell Linda you said that. Michael Cole says, Mr. C is not just in the military. Sing it loud, Carrie. He is a United States Marine. You are right. I apologize to all of the Marines. I was just trying to be broad, but yes, he is a Marine. I am a very proud Marine wife. He just celebrated 27 years in the Corps in the last couple of weeks, so it's a huge deal for him. And the family is very proud, obviously. So, yes, so to all the Marines out there, once a Marine, always a Marine. I know. Eric says, Angela, Annie Ange needs to read this wearing a jumper. Romper room. If you know, you know. Let's see. Love the purple hair, says Jessica. Thank you very much. There is a difference, says Tracy. Eric says, Keith, he's had a few beers already. He probably has. Absolutely. Can we toast to the World War II veterans with D-Day this weekend? So, Bish, it's funny that you bring that up because I did want to talk about D-Day. It is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And recently I had a chance to sit down and talk. This happened within the last couple of years, but I had a chance to sit down and talk with a Normandy veteran. Not only a Normandy veteran, but he was a segregated Normandy veteran. He is a proud Bostonian. I'm going to make this text bigger for you so that you can read it if you're watching on a smart TV. His name is Marvin Gilmore. He served with the 458th Artillery Battery, the anti-aircraft artillery battalion in World War II, which was segregated. He is an unbelievably charismatic speaker. He's very soft-spoken. I had a chance to talk to him because when people talk about the history of this country and they talk about the Civil War, they talk about slavery, they talk about segregation, there are a certain number of people that say it was a long time ago, get over it. Marvin Gilmore is 100 years old. He is a World War II D-Day veteran, and he is the grandson of actual slaves. And I heard him speak, and I had a chance to check out the American History Museum with him. And I asked him life advice, because I think if you're going to take advice from someone, it should be someone that has lived a full life. And I don't think anyone could say that Marvin Gilmore did not live a full life. By the way, he is in Normandy right now for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. So the grandson of slaves who found himself on Normandy Beach on D-Day in a segregated unit. This was his advice to me. Own something. Your house, your car. He said, I own my house. I own my car. When you own something, you can never be made a slave. And I thought that was really, really powerful. The 80th anniversary of D-Day, that commemoration, which is happening right now, our friend Andy Biggio that wrote the 2 books, The Rifle, actually escorted Marvin Gilmore and other World War II veterans for the 80th anniversary of D-Day celebration. So he's with them right now. And this will probably be the last major commemoration, meaning, 80th, 85th, 90th, where there will actually be D-Day veterans there. Because by the 85th, they will most likely all be gone. We're losing World War II veterans at a shocking rate. It's been happening thousands a day for a long time, and there are only a handful left. And I thought Marvin's advice was unbelievably potent and poetic, because I think, without getting into any kind of political soapboxing here, there are a lot of things. It is Pride Month. There is an election coming up. There are a lot of conversations about rights, civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, rights in general. And it would be very easy to rewrite history. People are trying to do it right now. People are trying to say that Hitler wasn't trying to kill all the Jews. There are people that deny that the Holocaust happened at all. There are people that are saying that white nationalism isn't Nazism. And when I hear that kind of stuff, I think about people like Marvin, who was the grandson of slaves, the stories that he grew up listening to, right? We all bring our experience of our family. So I grew up listening to the stories on my dad's side of my dad's family being immigrants and coming to the United States. On my mom's side, I grew up hearing stories about my grandfather's service in World War II in Korea, my great-grandfather's service in the Army in World War I, the long lineage of my mom's family here in the United States. And you grow up with those stories and they impact you. Marvin grew up the grandson of slaves and then ended up on Normandy Beach on D-Day. We've seen the movies, we've heard the stories, we've read the books. We don't know, but we're educated enough to be aware of what that was like for Marvin and all of the other brave Allied forces that landed on those beaches that day. And it's so humbling to me that I will be able to speak when I'm older that I met someone that was there that day, that I met someone that grew up through the Jim Crow era of the United States, that grew up hearing stories about slavery, that grew up, with water fountains and sunset laws and and fighting for the right to vote. And yet he still served and could have very easily died in service to his country in a unit that wasn't even integrated. And so when you hear people say it was a long time ago, get over it, or my grandparents never owned slaves, or I never owned a slave, that doesn't mean that the ripple effects of our past don't still affect us. I mean, we all are carrying trauma from our childhood. We are all living lessons of things we heard our parents tell us and our grandparents tell us. There are people that are multi-generations in the military because they grew up hearing stories from their grandfather about World War II. Younger generations will grow up hearing stories about 9/11, the way that we heard stories about Pearl Harbor. And so while these amazing Americans are still breathing, it is important to hear their stories. Just as important as it is to hear the survivors of the Holocaust and to listen to their stories, because in the not so distant future, they will all be gone. And there will be people trying to tell you that it didn't happen, that it wasn't as bad as people say, that the history books were wrong, that Hitler wasn't that bad of a guy. I never in a million years when I was a kid thought that you could try to deny something like this, because we all grew up hearing stories about it. And people are trying to. So I think it's really important this week that when they commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day and you see these old men, there are children in France right now that are running up to hug and kiss these men and take photos with them because they have grown up learning their history about how their land was occupied and it was liberated by the Allied forces. These guys right now may as well be the Beatles and then some over there. And these kids that are 5 and 6 years old are standing there having their pictures taken with men like Marvin that will be able to grow up and tell their kids and their grandkids, I met one of those heroes. The way that Marvin shares the stories about how his grandparents were human beings that were owned by other human beings. And it's really important for us to not forget our own history. As painful and as horrible as it can be to look it in the face and admit that it happened, it's the only way to ensure that it's not going to happen again. And we are losing the people that can tell us in their own words what it was really like, because they're going to be gone soon. So, Bish, thank you for bringing up D-Day. It was such a humbling experience to meet Marvin. And he lived such an amazing life. He was an artist. He went to music school. After everything he has seen in his life, finds so much joy still in this life, which I think is a lesson we could all learn, because we all experience sadness, trauma, stress, and it finds a way to take days from us, weeks from us, months, years sometimes. And I think it's really important for all of us to remember that you have to keep driving forward, because you can't get those days back. And allowing the stress and the fear and the anxiety to own the day, you're basically allowing it to steal that day from you. And you only get so many days. I don't think Marvin could have imagined on D-Day that 80 years later, he would be back on that beach, taking pictures with little kids. Having lived this amazing life, this trip was paid for by donations of people that wanted to be able to send these veterans back to Normandy, some for the first time since the war. And so I just want to make sure that as we talk about important things and not so important things here in the War Room every week, that we really do remind ourselves about where we all come from. and that it is possible to continue to drive forward and to be an asset of change. Wednesday, come here. To be someone that rather than just get bitter by what you've been through, that you can be like Marvin and try to lead by example and positivity and be soft-spoken but still firm. You know, his advice to own something, to own your home, because if you own something, you can never be a slave. That's really powerful advice. And the fact that it's still as powerful as it is in 2024 says something about where we're all at. David Parker says, unfortunately, in today's world, not sure it will prevent something like that from happening again. Unfortunately, David, that's the whole saying about your history, right? That if you don't remember it, you're doomed to repeat it. It's the whole point of commemorating the D-Day anniversary. It's the whole point of commemorating the anniversary of Pearl Harbor and 9/11. It's why commemorations for tragedies like the Oklahoma City bombing or what happened in Newtown or Columbine, if you don't take time to remember and to commemorate the day, not celebrate, but remember and learn from that event, learn from that moment, learn from that experience, then you're just going to keep learning the same lesson over and over again. There's this crazy movie that is a super deep cut of movies, and not a lot of people have seen it, but it is one of my favorite movies. I love it so much. It stars Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep and Rip Torn, and it's called Defending Your Life. And the concept is when you die, purgatory, for lack of a better word, is where you go to defend your life in front of a bench full of judges that have evolved into the next realms of wherever we go. And it's a non-denominational kind of movie. It's a comedy. It's really funny, but it's very poignant and is very specific to what I'm talking about. And so you go there and you get assigned a lawyer, for lack of a better term, and you go in and this team of judges picks moments out of your life that were defining, moments that you should have learned something. And if you haven't learned the lessons you should have, they send you back, reincarnated on earth, to try again and learn those lessons. And if you have learned those lessons, you get on these buses and go to the next elevated plane of wherever you go when you are ready to evolve. And they measure everything based on how much of your brain you use. So the more evolved you are in your life experience through all of these lives, the more your brain you use. And it's like a bragging thing, like SAT scores. Oh yeah, well, I use 64% of my brain or whatever. Eric says, oh my God, that movie is fucking amazing. Songbird says on Instagram, that is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen this movie, it's an older movie. I think it came out in the 80s, older, from the 80s. But the concept I absolutely love. And it speaks to the point of learning the lessons that all of our collective history, it's trying to teach us lessons. It's trying to teach us lessons about ignorance and hatred and being open-minded and loving. And no matter what religion you subscribe to or not, that being open to live and let live and to support other people's rights to be who they are and to pursue their life's passions and to strive to be a better person in yourself. And hopefully that ripple effect will make your neighborhood, your community, your world a better place in general. If we all try that, I think that's what we're all supposed to be. Wendy says, Defending Your Life. Yes, that's the movie. Google it. It's probably streaming on one of the streaming platforms. I love the movie. Meryl Streep is in it, who I just think is brilliant anyway. But it's a really, really funny movie. And I feel like it's one of those movies like The Matrix that the concept was so original that it kind of stands alone in its beauty, because it's like, wow, what a great idea. Oh, what an amazing thing to learn, or as this theory about life, right? And what happens when we die, because nobody knows. And so, I always tell people I'm sure of two things in this world: that I have no idea what happens when you die, and you have no idea what happens when we die. But the movie is really, really cool and should not offend even the most devout of religious people, because I think the concept of trying to get you to focus on being a good person is a universal thing. But it's pretty cool. I think you guys will like it. If you guys watch it before the War Room next week, let me know. I might have to go and rewatch it just because I love that movie so much, but I've probably seen it 100 times. Anytime it's on, like late night on TV or whatever, I always end up watching it because it's really, really good. Trina says, sorry I'm late, guys. I was taking out the trash. But if the cops ask, I was here the whole time. Okay, Trina. So to all of the World War II veterans, specifically all of the D-Day veterans, to all of those that died on the beaches that day, and to all of those amazing heroes that pushed on off the beach and fought those battles and survived and won the day and came home to lead us all by example. These are the stories that the War Room started for, right? To commemorate these kind of heroes and just amazing human beings. They're made out of something superhuman. So I'm gonna have to watch that tonight. Such a good movie. It is such a good movie. Total random movie. A lot of people haven't heard of it, but it's a really good movie. So the big announcement, of course, got made on Friday afternoon. I started yesterday. So if anybody is now joining us here in the War Room from the greater Charleston area, or maybe learned about the War Room because I started on 98 Rock yesterday, welcome to the War Room family, as they are dubbed. Want to welcome you. So if you're new, let us know, and let us know where you're watching from in the comments as well, so we can welcome you properly. And if you go to mistresscarrie.com, you go to the Cocktails in the War Room section right on the front page of the website, you'll see a hyperlink that says dictionary. Yes, I said it that way on purpose. There is a glossary and a list of all of the inside jokes and terms that we use here in the War Room sometimes, so that you don't feel left out. So let's see. Scott says, love you, Mistress Carrie. Thank you. Jeff says, anybody watch Reacher? Ben says, hey, Carrie, just joined. Great to see you. Ben, thank you for joining us here in the War Room. We're here every Tuesday night. It's a stream of consciousness on the show. We're talking about music. I'm going to tell you who's coming up on this week's episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast in a minute. So come and join us every week. I know like musical guests and musical artists will go on Reddit, or they'll go on Twitter and do like a, ask me anything. They'll say, oh, I'm not doing anything for 30 minutes. Ask me whatever you want. We do this every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern, where you guys can ask me whatever you want in the comments. So, let's see. Ralph says, big parade, flag raising, and fireworks in Quincy on Saturday, June 15th at 7. Heidi says, the lovely Mistress Carrie, check out the new Ghostbusters movie. I can't wait. I can't wait for the new Ghostbusters. I cannot wait for the new Beetlejuice. I've been reading some stuff. Michael Keaton says that he absolutely loves the way that the movie came out. Catherine O'Hara says that it was like Michael Keaton was possessed by a demon when he took back over Beetlejuice in this new movie, Beetlejuice. So, Keith says, when did you sneak over to see Linda? Keith, I was able to see Linda. Don't you worry about when I see Linda. Just know that I saw Linda. It was time. It was necessary. Trina says, just remember to the new people that we are lovably inappropriate. Yes, we are. Jeff says, listen to you yesterday on 98 Rock. Carrie, great job. Thank you. Seen you forever on AAF and now on the Pike. Yeah, Scott on Instagram. You can listen to me on, 98 Rock in Charleston from 10 to 3. You can hear me every weekday afternoon on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester. Want to remind you guys that a couple big events are coming up. So the Hairfest is coming up in July. That's at Indian Ranch in Webster. And then Rockfest is the last big event for the Pike at the end of August. And that is also at Indian Ranch. You can go to pikefm.com to get the details on both of those events and to stream the station if you're not in the greater Worcester area and to download the Pike app. And you can also hear me every weekday afternoon on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. You can download the Bone app. You can go to 1063thebone.com or 1063rocks.com and hear me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7. And then you can also hear me on the Westwood One Network and a bunch of stations around the country and also on the American Forces Network on Freedom Rock, the rock station. So there's a lot of places. Eric says Top Gun 3 got confirmed for 2025. I saw that as well. The new Garfield movie looks cute, says Christine. I have been a lover of Garfield since I was a kid, so I'm all about the fact that they brought it back as a new movie. Ever since I started to follow you on Instagram, I've been getting follow requests from mistresses. So that is one of the things that sucks about social media, right? Is that that is going to happen, that there are going to be people that are going to try to spam you on the comment feeds on Instagram, on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, that are going to try to convince you that you want a prize from me. They are trying to steal your data. They're trying to, infect your computer. Please don't follow these people back. I try to catch them and get them blocked off all of my pages. But they're always like, follow me back, sissy boy. And, do you want to be my slave? And all of this guy. I apologize. I've had the radio name Mistress Carrie now for 26 years plus at this point. So the name's not going to change anytime soon. So I apologize if you start getting follow requests from rando faux mistresses that are probably Russian bots on the internet. Keith says, download the Bone. Scott says, let's go Unreal. I have no mistresses, damn it. You've got me. That's all you need. You just need one. Jonathan says, I get those mistress messages all the time. I told them, honey, you don't have what I want. Jonathan, I wouldn't even comment back to them because then they know that you're a real person. So I wouldn't even encourage it. Just report them as spam or let me know, and then I will try to get rid of them. Heidi says 27. Has it been 27 years? No. 98. So that's 20. Well, it was April of 98 that I started on the air. So I hit my 26th anniversary on the air this year. So yeah, craziness. Joe says, Carrie, I thought it was just people from your nightlife. No, these are people that are trying to, to break into your accounts and steal your passwords and all of that. Steven says they are annoying. I know they are. They're annoying to me too, but there's not much I can do about them. Steven says I just delete them. Lou says you're way different. We know you. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I think with social media, right, that there's this constant battle between censorship and regulation and freedom to be able to go online. Elon Musk has been trying to say, that Twitter, he wants it to be a bastion of freedom of speech. But unfortunately, with that comes people being harassed and threatened and stalked. And if you just want it to be 100% the Wild West, well, that's great until it happens to you, or until someone starts harassing your kids or your wife or threatening you and stalking you in that way. And so there is that argument back and forth about regulation and what is too far. And, what is your freedom of speech? And, what I always remind everybody is the freedom of speech is that the government can't come after you for saying the government sucks because the king went after you for saying the king sucked. Freedom of speech does not guarantee you the right to not suffer consequences for what you say. There are things like libel and slander that mean different things in the law based on if you are a public person or a private person. And the line between public and private people is getting really blurry because of social media influencers that have a certain amount of fame, but when they say something stupid, try to say, oh no, I'm just a private person, but they've got 3 million followers on YouTube. Well, no, you gave up being a private person, and so the rules are different. When you say something falsely about a private person, it just has to be proven false. And if it's false, if you lied, then that's slander and libel. If you say it against a person that is famous, say an elected official or a celebrity or whatever, the burden of proof is higher. And not only do you have to prove that it was a lie, but you have to prove that there was malice behind it in order to damage their reputation, which i.e. damages their right to make a living, their brand, whatever it is. Freedom of speech doesn't protect you from prosecution when it comes to threatening people, it's like the whole yelling fire in a theater thing. Like, it doesn't protect you from that. So be careful what you say. What's up, Roger? Joining us here on Facebook. Jen says, I can't stand that you put a post up and then you get all of those friggin' people that say, I really want you to be my friend. Yeah, asking for follows back, all of that. Those are like bots and stuff. And so the part of social media that sucks and the argument back and forth is there is a certain amount of rights that the social media companies say that they have the right to annoy you, spam you to a certain extent. If you look in the code of conducts in the fine print, all of those user agreements that you click your way through, there are certain things that they're not allowed to do, right? Solicit you for sex, solicit you for criminal activity, all of that kind of stuff. But there is an argument that goes back and forth that, there are a lot of people that think social media could do a lot more when it comes to thwarting identity theft. There are celebrities that have had their profiles stolen, like Brian May from Queen. It's pretty freaking easy to prove he's Brian May from Queen, right? But somebody, I think, stole his Instagram or his Twitter, and they didn't give him his page back, even though it's very easy to prove he's Brian May from Queen. But somebody was able to hack into his page and take custody of it. And in that case, these social media companies are like, well, it's not our responsibility to protect you. It's your job to protect yourself. And that's the age-old argument, right? Where does your freedom to swing your fist stop? And the saying always is, at my chin. That's where your freedom to swing your fist stops. So, or asking to be your friend on Facebook, says Jessica. They're really bad on YouTube too, says Jonathan. Yeah, exactly. Damn, what fun it is. I love messing with the scammers, says Joe. Look, if you're having a good time with it, have a good time with it. But just know that, there are people in other countries in these bot farms and whatever that are getting paid and incentivized to try and get a reaction out of you, to try and get access to your pages, to try and steal your pages, to try and get your personal information, to get your email addresses, your date of birth, your real name, your credit card info. Ticketmaster, it was just announced, they got hacked. 580 million users got hacked, and their data, including the last 4 of your credit cards, was hacked. So double check your Ticketmaster accounts because they just got hacked. Mark says, if Keith was solicited for sex, he'd wear that like a badge of honor. Pretending to be someone that you aren't. Yeah, so that's supposed to be against the user agreements, right? But people do it all the time. And if you go on, say, Twitter, because Twitter is the worst in the last couple of years, and you look up Jelly Roll, There's 50,000 people claiming to be Jelly Roll. And when they took the check marks away from people that had been verified with, sending their identification in and going through a verification process, now you just pay for the check mark. So you don't really know, well, is that really Jelly Roll or is that not really Jelly Roll? Corey Taylor on Twitter, his handle says, fuck your check mark for that reason. So you've just always got to be careful. What I try to do, which leads me into the podcast, what I try to do is when I have a guest on the podcast, in the user notes of that episode, I will always link the real pages to my guest, their real social media handles, their real YouTube channel, their real website, so that you can tell, because some of these fake pages and these fake sites are really convincing. And they will slide into your DMs. Bands go up on social media all the time and say, if anybody ever asks you for money, if anybody ever asks you for personal information, that is not us. We don't do that. So same thing here. I don't do that either. So I'm not going to DM you on Facebook or Instagram and say, hey, what's your address? Or I might be in your neighborhood. Can I swing by? Can you give me your credit card information? Not happening. Let's see. Trina says all of those questions asking who your fourth grade teacher is, all of that stuff is all getting, all of those surveys and all of that stuff, those chain things that like your crazy aunt puts up where it's like, let me see how many out of these 50 things I can remember. First grade teacher, first pet, hospital where you were born. Those are all things on Facebook that are mining for your information. So if you didn't know that already, don't answer those. Pixie Chick said Johnny Depp invited me to his birthday party. Did you see that Johnny Depp is going to be playing the devil in a Terry Gilliam movie? And that Jeff Bridges is going to be playing God? Oh my God. It's going to be amazing. Betty says, I always get Brent Smith or Sully. Yeah, they have a lot of fake pages, people trying to act as them. It's very sad, and it's, it is pathetic. And Eric says spam and hate mongers, hate messages is why Jelly Roll got off social media, because they were judging his weight. What do they say about glass houses and rocks? Yeah, most of the people that are harassing Jelly Roll are probably pale and in their mom's basements and jealous because he's living such an amazing life. And he gave an interview recently where he said that he was really inspired to get in shape because he wants to live longer, because he and Bunny want to try to have a baby, which I think is the most amazing thing ever. And so now he is, now he's trying to live longer, which I think is something that, we should all aspire to try to do, right? Wring as much life as we can out of these bodies before it gets taken away. So Michael Cole says, Carrie, you can swing by anytime. Rachel says, Shinedown just did a live yesterday, and all of the Brent Smith bots came out while they were doing the live in a panel in Chicago. Anthony says, Jason Todd's page tried to scam me last week. Yeah, it sucks. So just, Keith says there is a Lady V fake profile that is in the room right now. Exactly. So just report them, spam them, whatever. Bish says, I want to do a 5K with Jelly Roll. He says he's going to do another one before Thanksgiving, which is just amazing. So I couldn't be more proud of him. And obviously, the bigger the venues he plays, the bigger the stages that he's got to be running around on too. So I think that it's amazing that Jelly Roll, even though he has been getting a lot of hate and that people have been, picking on him online, I think the fact that he is, focusing on what's important, his health, his family, I think that's great. His art, I think it's awesome. Let's see. He did a song with Shinedown. Oh, I know. It's coming. Brent Smith said it already, which I Cannot wait for. So excited about that. Heidi wants to know how mom is. Mom is okay. No improvement, obviously. There are some cases of COVID that are kind of in the facility. So I get updates as her, medical proxy and power of attorney that she's negative, that they're taking all precautions, and she's doing okay. So that's all we can hope for. Eric says Jelly Roll is quite literally the best role model for kids and adults. Yeah, because he's willing to admit that he made wrong choices and that he is now trying to right them. That's what makes him an amazing role model. Not, there are people say he's not a role model because of where he came from. Well, he talks about that he used to be part of the problem and now he's trying to be part of the solution. I mean, that is what corrections is supposed to be about, right? It's supposed to be about making people change their behavior for the better. And Jelly Roll is doing that, which is why I love him so much. He's such a... Joe says COVID is still going on. Yeah, it is. And if you are immunocompromised or if you have an advanced illness like Alzheimer's and dementia, while you can be young and healthy and think COVID's not real, there are those of us that can tell you that if you have a serious life-threatening illness and you get COVID, it's really bad for you, because my mom got it and it sped up her Alzheimer's in a way that none of us could have imagined. So yes, it's still going on, smartass. So there you go. All right, let's talk about the podcast, shall we? Last week's podcast episode, I was shocked at the response it got, specifically on YouTube, but on all of the podcast platforms, all of my social media platforms. The ladies in the Warning have a very, very active and passionate fan base that are all over Latin America and all over the US and all around the world. I can't tell you how many comments on all of my social media profiles I had to hit the C translation button because they were commenting in Spanish. And as you heard on this episode, my Spanish is not good. So for the Villarreal Velez sisters from The Warning, all three of them are sisters, by the way, to tell me that yes, Spanish is a really hard language to learn. It's a really hard language to write songs in. That made me feel really good because they learned Spanish obviously first and then learned English after. So it made me feel better that my struggles with Spanish in school were not because I was an idiot, even though I think we can all agree that I'm kind of an idiot too. But unbelievably impressed, not only with the ladies in general and our conversation, but their rabid fan base. Their fans were so complimentary about the episode, complimenting me on the questions, thanking me for having this band on the show. Just so gracious. We're just talking about hate, right? On the internet. I didn't get any of the, it's about time. I've been a fan of this band for 8 years and now you're finally jumping on the bandwagon, which from time to time you hear that kind of stuff. No, all of the diehard fans of The Warning were like, we love this band. You're trying to help this band. That means we love you. Thank you for putting them on your show. It was amazing. So I loved having them on the show. They're just great. I think they have a fascinating story that they grew up, in Mexico, loving metal, that it's three sisters that started a band together, even though that was never really their plan growing up. There's a little bug flying around. I got the windows open in here. And they've got all of these amazing artists that are singing their praises, taking them out on tour, and that they've developed this massive fan base that is so passionate and loyal. So I loved having them on the show. If you haven't heard them yet, one of the things that I always set out to do with the podcast was to expose you to new up and coming next generation artists that you may not hear from or of in any other way, unless maybe they show up in an algorithm somewhere on Spotify or something. But it's something that I always love doing at WAAF. It's something that I love doing on all of the other stations that I'm on. is being able to talk about these newer artists while keeping you in touch with all of the artists that you've grown up listening to, the icons of rock and roll, the pillars, the foundation that all of it is built on. But to be able to say, this is a new artist that I think you might really like, that's why I put these artists on. Now, the reason why I say all of that is that this was episode 208. Episode 209, which goes live at midnight tonight, is another new artist and another woman in rock and roll that I think you are going to really like too. She is another artist that is blurring the lines between country and rock. She calls it like punktree. She's got a bunch of different terms for it, but this is Royal Lynn. So earlier this year, I met Royal Lynn in Vegas. So you guys know when I go to those music conventions in Vegas, part of the reason why I go is that they do all of these showcases with new artists. And I got to hang out at a bar with Royal Lynn. I got to see her perform acoustic. I got to hear her talk about her story. She grew up in the middle of nowhere on a farm in Canada, but she grew up a metalhead. Even though everybody else around her was listening to country music, she grew up loving rock, punk, and metal, and was, as she calls herself, the black sheep of her whole community. And that she has been a singer for a long time, that nobody from where she is from had any aspirations of becoming a musician. She just did. And she talks all about how supportive her family was, how her mom was like a soccer mom, but for music, and that she would do like talent shows and Battle of the Bands. And when she graduated from high school, she moved to Nashville. Like, Mom, Dad, this is what I want to do. I'm moving to Nashville to make a go of it. And so Lynn and I talked all about that experience, about learning how to really write songs with people that are really good at writing songs, learning how to win over crowds, playing at 11:30 in the morning in bars and in clubs in Nashville on a Tuesday, trying to get better so that people will pay attention to you. And that's what she's doing. And she is like an outlaw country metalhead. It's really interesting. And it's something that when you talk about artists like Tim Montana, Jelly Roll, Hardy, all artists that we've had on the show, Lynn and I talked about it in this episode, that like there is this subgenre that is this crossover, this blending of different genres. And that's what she's doing, is she's bringing this socially conscious. And when I say that, she is very active in the first responder and veteran community. The new single that she wrote with Danny Worsnop from Asking Alexandria is called Death Wish. And she was inspired to write it about firefighters and police officers, people that are drawn to this calling of an incredibly dangerous job, and what kind of a person you have to be to not only have that pursuit, but also to love someone that has that pursuit. And so that's what this single is off of her upcoming album. She wouldn't give me all the details on the record. I tried. But the new song Death Wish is out right now. And she talks a lot about post-traumatic stress, about mental health, about trying to fight the stigma of all of that stuff, which is something that Shinedown and Slipknot and Papa Roach and Hailstorm and so many other rock and metal bands that come on the show are all talking about. And she is talking about it as well. So I think you guys are really going to love Royal Lynn. Rachel says, I'm thrilled about the Warning episode. My nieces are Mexican from their dad, and I am always looking for artists from their heritage to share them. And well, this is a perfect example. You know, go back and listen to the Sonny Sandoval episode from POD, which I think is episode 204. He and I talked a lot about how he grew up in the hood and that he didn't think that punk and hardcore music and metal and rock music in general was for him, because he didn't see anyone that looked like him making that music. And then he saw Suicidal Tendencies and he saw Bad Brains. And he was like, well, wait a minute. It's not about where you come from. It's about what you have to say. And that changed everything for Sonny Sandoval and for the guys in POD. And so it's that same kind of thing where here's this farm girl from the middle of nowhere in Canada, but grew up loving Green Day and Breaking Benjamin and like all of these bands that she loved that no one else around her did. And it inspired her to want to be a rock singer, but also to represent where she comes from, which is on a farm. She talks about the barn radio, the radio that lives in the barn that plays music all the time, and what that country upbringing was like for her, and that she's got this duality of her upbringing and also the music that she loves. And so trying to find a way to squish them together is what she does. So I think it's pretty cool. Donna says, I can't have parts. Losing them stresses me out so much. Don't know what that means. Marcy says, June is Pride Month. Marcy, we talked about that, about representation, about freedom to pursue who you are. We talked about it with D-Day, with segregation in the United States, with freedom for everybody. And that, there are a lot of people that are using Pride Month to make statements about you don't have anything to be proud of, or I've seen more Bible verse memes since June 1st than I've seen in like the last 5 years. And I saw something really poignant online that says, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't quote it directly and I know I'm going to butcher it, but the reason why pride is necessary is that there are still people, specifically kids, that are growing up thinking the world would be better off without them because they know they're different. And hopefully, if those kids walk into Target or CVS, or they go online, or they watch a Bruins game or a Celtics game, and they see pride being celebrated, that maybe they will think that the world is better with me in it than not. And that is where the pride comes from, is that it's okay to be you and the world is better with you in it. So there you go. So there you go. All right. So that's the podcast episode. It goes live at midnight tonight, episode 209, featuring Royal Lynn. Subscribe to the podcast every Monday through Friday. You get the sit rep with all of the rock news, music headlines, entertainment updates. That's everything from streaming shows and movies to music catalogs being sold to technology to new releases to tour announcements, kind of all of it. Monday through Friday, you get the sit rep. So subscribe to the podcast. You get the new episodes every Wednesday. You get the sit rep Monday through Friday. Yeah. So there's somebody right now that is stealing my artwork, my logos, and trying to act like it's me, saying, congratulations, click this link. That is not me. This is spam. They are spamming everybody in the show right now. You haven't won anything. Please don't give these assholes any information. They completely suck. Report their comments as spam. Get them kicked out of here. Stop stealing my freaking artwork. Subscribe to the podcast. You can do it any of these reputable places. Apple, Google, Spotify, Odyssey, iHeart. You can listen to the audio episodes on YouTube. Somebody commented on the warning episode, like, this is so old school that it's only audio. In this day and age, you should have video. And I'm like, that's what a podcast is. A podcast is audio only. Yes, there are tons of podcasts that release the video portion of it too, but the definition of a podcast is that it's an audio show. And I release them on YouTube because a lot of people have firewalls on their computers at work, and they can still have access to YouTube. So they can just hit play on the YouTube player and listen to it in the background while they're at their computer or whatever. You can't watch a video interview while you're driving. I mean, you can, but you're not supposed to, and it's definitely illegal. So that's why the audio is up on YouTube, is that there are a lot of people that listen to audio only content. That's why bands put lyric videos up on YouTube. There is a ton of audio only content that is hosted on YouTube. Jen says, what the hell? They are going nuts. Yeah, it's just... Keith says, oh my God, can we boot this person? This spammer has taken things over. Oh, I fucking hate these people. I really, really do. I really, really do. It just drives me crazy. Fucking assholes. Assholes. Let's see. Yes, F-bomb, woohoo, exactly. You guys are going to have to take care of it until the show's over, and then I can handle it from here. So, Isaiah led me to you. Hope all is well. Thank you very much on Instagram. Block and ignore, says Steve. Eric says, hey, spammer, tell Putin to suck my ass. Mr. Garrison. All right, podcast locations. I was hoping we were going to hit 150 countries this week, but we have not yet. But I have a feeling this warning episode might be the one that kind of sets us over the top. So as of right now, we are still holding strong at 149 countries that are listening to the podcast. So fingers crossed we're going to get to 150. All right, birthdays tonight. Stefan Lassard from the Dave Matthews Band, Reeves Gabriels from The Cure, Michelle Gilliam from the Mamas and the Papas. That's who shares your birthday today. So if today's your birthday, happy birthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Those are the musicians that share your birthday today. Michael Cole says the Woo Sox did not win. That sucks. All right, I want to breeze through some of these music headlines because I know it's getting late. But there are a ton of shows that got announced. A bunch of tours got announced. Here's all the shows at the Garden that are coming. Obviously, if you're watching from outside of New England, these are all tours that are out on the road that you can find dates near you. But we're always talking about shows that are happening in and around New England. So let's see. Silver Scream Con is at the DCU Center. Also Iron Maiden at the DCU Center in Worcester. The shows at Big Night Live, a bunch of them got added, including Unearth. That's on June 15th. The Warning, my guests last week on the podcast, are going to be at Big Night Live coming up on September 13th. Those tickets are on sale now. Cold Chamber is going to be at Big Night Live in Boston on September 17th. And Asking Alexandria is going to be there on October 8th. The Xfinity Center is just jam-packed with shows. The next one coming up is actually Hardy, coming up on the Quit Tour on June 21st. But all of the dates of all of these shows are added on the concert and event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Greta Van Fleet at the Mohegan Sun Arena August 2nd. Godsmack and Nothing More. I've got a bunch of shows in New England, in Maine, New Hampshire, and at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Seven Dust announced back-to-back shows at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom on September 13th and 14th. And this is Beat, which is Baloo, Vi, Levin, and Carey. That's Danny Carey. They're going to be at the Schubert playing the music of King Crimson. That's going to be on October 11th. That show is up on the events calendar, the concert listings as well. Leader Bank Pavilion, I Prevail, and Hailstorm. Guys, there is a new song with these bands. Lizzie talked about the song on her episode of the podcast a couple weeks ago. The song's coming this week. A collaboration between Hailstorm and I Prevail. They wanted to write the song so that they could do it live together on tour, which they'll be at the Leader Bank Pavilion on July 16th. But the song is coming out this week, so make sure you're listening for that. Slash's Serpents Tour, that's the blues tour Slash is going out on. The 311 Unity Tour, the Bush Loaded Greatest Hits Tour, Falling in Reverse, and Jane's Addiction, who has reunited and are going to the Leader Bank Pavilion. Yes, it's the original lineup. They haven't played shows together in years and years and years. The Rolling Stones were just at Gillette Stadium. Huge show, just unbelievable reviews. The Red Clay Strays opened up for the Stones, and now they've announced a club show. They're going to be coming back. Metallica is going to be at Gillette August 2nd and 4th. Hopefully they will not be struck by lightning. If you haven't seen that video of them in the rain in Munich, Germany, watching the Metallica stage get struck by lightning during Master of Puppets, they released professionally shot video of this over the weekend. It's insane how hard it was raining. Rise Against is going to be at Roadrunner coming up October 24th. Let's see. The Fenway Concert Series, a bunch of shows are happening, a lot of rock shows, which is kind of insane. The next one coming up is the Hootie and the Blowfish Collective Soul Bare Naked Ladies Edwin McCain show. That's going to be on June 21st. And then Pearl Jam, who did an unbelievable tribute to Bill Walton in Seattle. I'm hoping they're going to do something like that at Fenway too. The Palladium, Flat Black announced they're going to be at the Palladium on July 27th. Set It Off, New Year's Day, From Ashes to New just announced they are going to be at the Palladium on October 27th. Those tickets go on sale this Friday. The NoFX finale tour is going to be at Campanelli Stadium in Brockton, and the New England Metal and Hardcore Festival returns to the Palladium September 21st and 22nd. Marcy says Dave Navarro too with Jane's Addiction. Yes, with Dave Navarro too. A bunch of shows announced at Roadrunner, including Newfound Glory, Kaleo, The Hives, the Red Clay Strays that opened up for the Stones. They are going to be at Roadrunner coming up October 5th. Rise Against is going to be there October 24th, and Dayseeker on October 11th. Drum roll. MGM Music Hall at Fenway. Gary Clark Jr. is going to be there this week. Kings of Leon will be there September 16th. Queens of the Stone Age just announced that they have extended their tour, and they are going to be at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway September 28th. And Sting, the 3.0 tour, is going to be at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway coming up on October 4th. House of Blues, Rival Sons, and Clutch September 17th. Hate Breed with Carcass, Harm's Way, and Crypta on September 27th. And Jen says, Carrie, I'm getting messages from you in my inbox. No, you are not. It is not me. I am not sending you inbox messages. Report them as spam. Lou says, hey, Carrie, I'm getting spam through the War Room and now on Facebook. Report them. It's not me. Paradise Rock Club, Keith Wallen is going to be there. He, of course, is the guitar player from Breaking Benjamin that we had on the podcast recently. That's going to be July 22nd. City Winery, I have to update those listings, but they are updated on the website. The Stage at Suffolk Downs, A Day to Remember the Story So Far, 4 Years Strong. That show is happening coming up on June 28th. A newly revamped Suffolk Downs. They totally redid the concert venue in there, and it is supposed to be beautiful. New releases this week. The Bon Jovi album Forever is finally coming out. The Who, not Roger Daltrey's Who, but the Who from Mongolia live in Glastonbury is coming out. Also, JD Pincus from the Butthole Surfers releasing Grow a Pair, which I thought was kind of funny. And Yellow Wolf releasing War Story. That is all coming out this Friday. So, mail call. I got this from Dondi that says, thank you. Just a small thank you for all you do and the good person you are. Don't tell anybody, you'll ruin my reputation. Also, for the shows you got me into last summer, Ghost and Mudvayne, enjoy the custom-made coaster. I believe that they would be a good fit in the War Room. So I got custom coasters that are legit burned. Oh, it's upside down. I'm just here for the blueberry cobbler. Don't lick anything weird and wash your damn hands. You put a lot of work into these. Let me see. Don't lick anything weird, wash your damn hands. I'm just here for the blueberry cobbler. So there's two different ones. There's the War Room ones, and then there's pugs on the back. For Wednesday, who just rejoined us because she heard me say mail call. Didn't you, Wednesday? Because you're the most spoiled dog on the planet. That's so soft because of that nice bath that you took, right? That I put you in the beer bucket and gave you a bath. And at first you were mad at me, and then you were like, oh, wait, I really like this. Yeah, you remember that. So thank you for the coasters and for the really sweet thank you card. Those are really nice. PJ Simmons says, damn, Jesus, I miss WAF. I miss it too, PJ. There have been people that have been commenting on like the different radio stations that I'm on and like, it's not the same. I know it's not the same. It can't be the same. Like, do you think any of us were happy about it? We have to move on and do something. Like, we have got to do something. So I get it that it's not the same. The shows are different. The world is different. Technology is different. It's not going to be the same. So Dina says those are cool. Rachel says those are awesome. Anyone going to Steel Panther in New Hampshire? That's right. Steel Panther is coming on the Prowl Tour. Those dates are up on the website as well. Where are my treats and belly rubs? Jessica says about Wednesday. Right. You're such a soft doggy, huh? Yeah, you're so good. My favorite girl, huh? My favorite girl in the whole wide world with the worst posture of any dog that's ever sat on the green couch in the War Room. Yeah? You have terrible posture, Wednesday. You do not sit like a lady. It's okay, though. We love you, don't we? Let's see. Honey Joan joining us in the War Room. Trina says, oh, mail time. Yeah, because Wednesday rejoined us on the couch. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Want to remind you guys that Father's Day is coming up, which means the brand new My Dad Says baby onesies that are available in the store. Now she's scratching me because she wants me to pet her. Okay, Wednesday, can I just hit the button here first? The new baby onesies are there, perfect for Father's Day, especially for the new dads. There is going to be a Father's Day sale. Keep your eyes on my social media pages. A coupon code is going live this week to get Father's Day shopping in before Dad's Day. And yes, these 3/4 sleeve shirts match the baby onesies, a perfect 1-2 combo for Father's Day. There's also the matching pullover hoodies. There is the Mistress Carrie roll-up purple blanket that's great to keep in your trunk, to stick in your saddlebags, all of that kind of stuff. So plenty of Father's Day shopping. There's beanies and visors and fitted caps and trucker hats and beer koozies and pint glasses. So if you're looking for a gift for dad or cool uncle or your husband or boyfriend or whoever for Father's Day, make sure you check out all of the Father's Day stuff at mistresscarrie.com. Just go to the shop. Also, Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass members, we got together for a private live stream over the weekend, which is something we do every month to fill you guys in on what's coming up. There's always new stuff being worked on. You also find out who's going to be on the podcast, so you could submit podcast interview questions. You get travel blog updates. When I travel, I take you with me. Early access to event tickets and information. We are planning a couple of events, one that just got brought up today, and the Backstage Pass holders will find out about it first. Exclusive concert ticket giveaways. Cage the Elephant tickets are up for grabs right now if you have a Backstage Pass, but there are more tickets coming for Backstage Pass holders, and you also get merch discount codes. And there's also a Mistress Carrie deal that is coming as well. So I'll have more details on that within the next week. And just a reminder of all of the places that you can find me, all of the social media profiles, and then obviously the Pike and the Bone. You can listen online, you can download the apps, and of course, the brand new announcement that you can hear me now from 10 to 3 every weekday on Charleston's Best Rock, 98 Rock. Go to my98rock.com or go on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at my98rock, and you can check out the station. You can stream the station, listen from anywhere. But to all of the people that are joining the War Room family and the Mistress Carrie universe because of 98 Rock, welcome. And I also want to remind you guys one more thing on Facebook, to join the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. It is a great place for you to go to share information about veteran-owned businesses, nonprofits, event information, for you to, if you are a veteran, to seek information on resources, to reconnect with other veterans, and also if you're a civilian that just really wants to try and find a way to give back and support veterans, it's a great place for that too. Maybe you love a veteran and you have questions about helping that veteran with resources. This group is filled with knowledgeable and wonderful people that have been really quick to share amazing information, to offer support, and to be able to publicize businesses, veteran-owned businesses. You know, we always say support the troops, and this is one of the ways that you can do it, is to support them when they come home, when they start businesses, and to support those businesses. So join the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. Right, Wednesday? Are we ready to end the show? So that's it, guys. Stranger Danger, says Eric. Boozy ice cream is coming, Mr. Cole. We should all go to a Woo Sox game, says Will. That would be great. I would love it. If the Woo Sox want to give me like a couple hundred tickets, we could totally make that happen. Keith says we have our own Mistress Carrie universe. Better yet, painkillers all around, Tracy says. Welcome to the land of misfit toys, says Donna. 10 to 3. Yes, on 98 Rock. 10 to 3. That's East Coast time every Monday through Friday. Where did you hang Mr. C's neon sign? So last week, I joined you guys for Cocktails in the War Room from MCHQ. And in the background, there was a neon sign that was kind of propped up on the couch in the studio. It is now mounted on that wall. So when I do interviews, Zoom interviews, the neon is behind me and it looks amazing. I love it. It looks so good. Tracy says, welcome to the new peeps. MC night at Polar Park. Keith says, I would love to do that. Are you kidding me? Give away purple stuff. I think it would be an absolute blast. If the Woo Sox are listening, a Mistress Carrie night would be amazing. I would totally do that. It would be great. All right, guys. Episode 209 of the podcast featuring Royal Lynn goes live at midnight tonight. Thank you, guys. Welcome to all of the new people. Welcome to everybody on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Thank you for joining me every week. And of course, the episodes always live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can get caught up with old episodes, or just go to mistresscarrie.com because everything is right there. So, do you want to say goodnight, Wednesday? Huh? Do you want to say goodnight? Good night.